20 years and a metric ton of remakes later, the original Final Fantasy is still a shining example of a great RPG. In fact, there are things that this relic still does better than its sequels, all 11 of them. So while it's a game most of us have played, and the older amongst us have probably played a dozen times, this is one fantasy that's still worth experiencing on the PSP. Gamers weaned on the more melodramatic fantasies of the Super Nintendo or PlayStation will find the original Final Fantasy pretty light in the story department. The characters don't come equipped with their own names, there aren't loads of different people associated with the plot, and you won't spend big chunks of time scrolling through endless amounts of dialogue and cutscenes. But that's not to say the story isn't compelling. Final Fantasy follows the exploits of 4 young warriors as they attempt to return hope to the world and destroy a millennia-old evil. Along the way, princesses will be saved, pirates will be slain, and a Dragon King will bestow the ultimate honor upon our adventurers. Good, solid fantasy cliches that somehow work in the frame of this epic game. Final Fantasy on the PSP doesn't offer much in the way of gameplay improvements over previous remakes on the PlayStation and Game Boy Advance. You still get the main quest with slightly tweaked difficulty over the NES original. You still get the now standard bestiary, which slowly fills itself out as you encounter new enemies throughout the game. And you still get the handful of new bonus dungeons if you're looking for a bit more challenge once you've mastered the main adventure. The only real difference here is the presentation. Hardcore fans will recognize the music, as it's been lifted straight off the PlayStation offering. But the visuals have received a noticeable upgrade this time around. The 2D art is running at a higher resolution than ever before, and looks downright gorgeous on the PSP's beautiful widescreen. And while that might not sound like much to most people, for a die-hard Final Fantasy fan, that alone is enough to warrant purchase. Even after 20 years, Final Fantasy's core gameplay has aged surprisingly well. This is the basic turn-based party battle system that most Japanese RPGs have been employing in one way or another for decades now. But what's key about this original fantasy is that it's one of the only games in the series that allows you to actually build a party from the outset, and stick with the same group of adventurers throughout the entire quest. Building a balanced party of 4 is key to your enjoyment of the game too. If you want a little challenge, choose 4 fighters. A balanced experience awaits those with a fighter, monk, white, and black mage. And for the sadistic among us, 4 black mages are just what the doctor ordered. Within, you'll find all the level grinding, mini quests, and item purchasing you'll ever need, along with a good amount of dungeons to explore and boss monsters to impale. While combat against most foes is pretty straightforward, some of the key battles throughout Final Fantasy require a decent amount of strategy. Basically, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. The play mechanics in Final Fantasy feel a bit dated in places, but there's no denying that this is still one of the most rock-solid role players you'll ever find. As the traditional RPG goes the way of the dodo, a play through the original Final Fantasy is a nice, entertaining way to rediscover the genre's roots, and remember why a lot of us got into these games in the first place. And this really is the ultimate remake of the game that started it all.